Welcome back. It's time to have a look at the dailies, and I see that the biggest news ambayo iko kwenye top page naona ni about the KCSE. By the way, congratulations to all students. And you know, we're having just a conversation right now, Gigi. Na ulikuwa ukisema kwamba it doesn't matter what you've gotten. Hii grade ambayo umeweza kuipata, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with that grade moving forward. Because after here, now you're going to college. And college ndio sasa inakuanga msema yote pale.
Clean slate pale. Mnaanzia hapo tu.
It just places you where God needs you to be, and then uko mbele you take it over. But I see Kabarak leads in number of A's and Alliance coming second. And I think we need a shift. This has been happening for a very long time. Hizi shule kubwa kubwa ndio zina
national schools.
National schools, you see. And then the names are always the same. And I see here Moi High School Kabarak had a total of 62 A's, Alliance with 54. And then following very closely was Kapsabet and also Miranda High. And I see more than 16,000 candidates were aged below 16 years, raising concerns among educationists on the rising trend. This is quite interesting. So we have 16,000 candidates who are aged below 16 years. So that means that wanapovuka kuenda college, some of them will be around 17 years. Wanakuwa hawajafika 18 years.
Okay.
And that's a story maybe you can look into in more detail. I think that is continued on page 6. And I also see that this year's KCSE results were different in many aspects. Final grade was arrived at using new grading system. Learners improved in maths, and a number of underage went up by more than 4,000. These are stories you can find on page 2, 12, 14, and also 15. So that is what is happening. And I think even for the students, it's a whole other wave right now. And most of them maybe feel discouraged because of how they performed. But I believe even as parents, we need to encourage our children and let them know that what they do with that grade is what truly matters. And of course, even hata uende shule gani, you can still thrive in that area as long as you're focused and you're doing your very best. I see Rift Valley powerhouses continue to dominate in KCSE exam results. That's another news right there. And I see at St. Patrick's E10, 373 candidates achieved a commendable score of 8.263. And meanwhile, Kapenguria School with 399 candidates achieved a mean score of 7.84. And I think most of the pages wanazungumzia tu hizo story tu za KCSE. But I also see TSC boss says 42,000 teachers needed to bridge JSS shortage. Masharia says more teachers required to handle grade 7 and 8 amid complaints by interns. Primary school teachers to be redistributed to accommodate the surplus members. A story that you can find in more detail that is on page 9. And I also see there is quite a debate going on page 17. I see is Ruto's criticism of the judiciary justified? A story that I think we highlighted yesterday. And I see it's a battle between Sherin Chemtai, Ford Kenya youth leader, and I also see Eric Naibe, who is an advocate. A story that you can find in more detail that is on page 17. And maybe just looking at more stories on the Standard. I think yani nyingi tu wanazungumzia mambo ya KCSE. KCSE zimechukua a very, very big part. But let me just look at something interesting I'm finding here on the counties. I see bride plans surprise wedding for bridegroom with no honeymoon. Journey was not a walk in the park, with the wedding being funded by well-wishers. Kialo says he survives on manual jobs and is ready to do all he can provide for his family. This is very, very interesting. And you can look at that story, page 22. And I see Steve was also my friend, and he would ask me to pray for him to get a wife. In March 2023, when we met at Makutano Junction, he asked me if I was still praying for him to get a wife, and I shared with him my G's number, which he called. George Mutuku, the pastor who officiated the wedding, had that to say. And I also see on page 23, hospitals may use revenue to hire workers. I see also other news on the counties, KFS to complete fencing of forest in 15 counties. And maybe looking a little bit on the business page, I see Kenyan security firms security firm KK sues US government over $5 billion deal. Firm alleges that G4S won the contract despite fronting low wages. A story that you can find on page 24. And on the back page, that is on the sports page on the Standard, I see Africa Cup of Nations. Gigi, you said I need to, mini wa Cameroon, by the way. Yeah. I think I'm Cameroon, yeah.
You know their nickname? You know the nickname?
Nope.
Because the Indomitable Lions.
What? No wonder this lady ako hapa amevaa kitu inakaa kama lion.
Yeah,
no
the
wonder.
Indomitable Lions.
I think I need to find out more about them.
Yeah.
Ama ni stick na Nigeria. I watch a lot of Nigerian movies and I feel there's a connection there. But or Senegal.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Okay. Which AFCON team will leave fans smiling? Look at top 5 favorites to leave the AFCON 2023 crown in Ivory Coast. I see Senegal won 2021 Africa Cup of Nations by beating Egypt in the final. I watched that match. Na nilikuwa team Senegal. So let me stick with team Senegal. Yes.
All right.
I've made that decision. And I also see the honeymoon is over for Shabana. The Gusii Club is second last in the standings with 14 points. Heavyweight Gor Mahia continue with lead at the top. That is on page 39. And I also see PLS Tikolo Steers side to T20 victory. Kenya to pick Para Athletics team to 2024 Paris Games. Interesting. That is on page 38. And that's it for the Standard.
All right. The Nation, Kabarak tops KCSE, parents, students and schools caught off guard as ministry dumps SMS service for NEC online portal. So yesterday we didn't have the SMS service to check the results, but instead you had to go to the NEC online portal. And Kabarak tops KCSE. Moi High School Kabarak walks away with this year's bragging rights in a list dominated by public, national and extra county schools. That's according to results compiled by the Nation. Kenya High had the best mean score by a girls' school as some academic giants were shoved aside by newcomers. It's a special coverage on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14 and 16. Now, some of the numbers, in total, 201,133 candidates scored attained the university entry points. So for A straight, we had 1,216 candidates, A minus 7,254, B plus 18,078, B 36,728, B minus 59,514. And C plus, we had 78,343 candidates scoring C plus and above. So those are the candidates who will be joining universities as per the entry points. And also I see new grading a boon to students. Overall grade takes into account maths, best language score and best 5 subjects. So that is in as far as the grading system is concerned. Boys take the Lions' share of grade A plain. So boys dominated the list of top performers in this year's KCSE examination, scoring 825 A's plain compared to 391 achieved by girls. Now the total of 1,216 A's was a paltry 0.14% of the total candidates, according to the CS Education Ezekiel Machogu, who also directed the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service to realign its entry requirements with the newly introduced grading system. You can read that on page 14 inside the Daily Nation. And then, of course, there are this is page 8 and also page 10. We have a list of those top performing students in this year's exam. Ministry taken to task over procurement of textbooks. MPs have poked holes into system, saying it has created more problems. So that is a storm which is brewing between Parliament and the Ministry of Education over the centralized procurement of school books and other learning gardening materials. You can read that story on page 17 inside the Daily Nation. The DN2 powering SME financial manager who ventured into production of organic farm inputs. So they have a story of Kumar Sheth, who dropped his professional career and visited a number of countries around the world, benchmarking on the best practices and formula for producing organic fertilizers and chemical-free pesticides for local farmers. An interesting story you can read inside today's DN2. I also see this is the county news. Maize fears NCPB might miss million bags target. Cereals board alarmed by low delivery of grain despite good harvest and prices. You can read that on page number 21. Senators and CRA clash over sharing of revenue. CRA has proposed 396.05 billion as allocation to counties for the financial year 2024-2025. But senators are headed for a major clash with the Commission on Revenue Allocation over its proposed quotas to counties in equitable revenue share for the coming financial year. Read that story on page 22. Then I see the back page, Treasury borrowing up by 168 billion shillings on low tax netted. So move is a setback on initial plan against borrowing to finance the budget. So Treasury projects poor revenue performance during the year that ends in June 2024. Then Anti-Graft Agency urges MPs to reject bill on procurement offences. EACC has asked MPs to reject a bill that is seeking to decriminalize procurement offences. That is the back page of the Daily Nation. Now the sports pages. Cote d'Ivoire is the team to beat, says Algeria's AFCON winning coach Belmadi. So France-born winner with the Desert Foxes in 2019, however, concedes his team are not favourites, even as they seek redemption after early exit in 2022 edition. Read that on page 35. Gore, Cruz, Tusker pursue. At halfway stage, leaders Kogalo are 7 points clear, but the Brewers are on a 7-game unbeaten run and seemingly back to their deadly self. Arsenal need reset after FA Cup exit to Liverpool, Arteta says. Read that on page number 34. So that is in the Daily Nation. Business Daily, cash-rich firms reap bumper gains from rising interest rates. Read that also on the Business Daily.
Beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. And people can get more news on the papers. And additionally, we have Hope FM at the top of every hour. You can tune in and get to be on the know. And also right here on Hope TV, we have Dira at 7 p.m. and Newswatch at 9 p.m. So yeah, you can keep being on the know. And as Gigi likes to say, it's good for us to be informed about what is happening in our country, but most importantly, so that we can know how to pray. All right.
Definitely.
So right about now, it's time for the video of the day. Quite an interesting video that we'll be looking at today, a song by Gloria Muliro called Ndio Yako. Basically, the summary of it, it doesn't matter what people have said.
No.
As long as Jesus, as long as God has said yes, no man can say no.
Yeah, so I don't care what you say about me, Beatrice.
Me too.
Ndio yake Yesu is all that counts, is all that matters. They may write you off.
But
they may see huyu sasa.
But God.
But God.
But God. Let's have a look at this video.